Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I am Ron Luce, joined by the one, the only. You've heard him on with us before. Good friend of the program, special guest for the night. We call him resident family member that just gets to let himself in now. But our friend Dubs at Mike Dubs Radio, dude. First off, before we get into the game, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm a little heated. I'm a little heated.
Ooh.
As of what happened in the 8th going into the 9th.
Okay,
with a certain someone.
I'm excited for this. So actually, just really quick for anybody that didn't watch the game, obviously, Cubs lose 4-3. A little late magic that made it like, ooh, a little tease there. Contreras flies out.
Every time.
I tweeted from the Cubs on Tap count with the old baseball that's out of the park. But just saying.
It is. But it was true.
It's a 3-run bomb instead of a really deep out. But nonetheless, Cubs fall just short. Nico Hoerner gets a base hit, though, driving a run in his return. Contreras seems like he's going to be back here shortly. So even though they lose Yan Gomes, some other guys are getting healthy, which is certainly cool to see. But I want to give you the floor, actually. I want you to vent this anger because now I'm intrigued, and it might be a good start into how we swim through the recap here. So please, sir, lay it out there for us. What do you got? What's burning inside Dubs' chest?
First off, fuck Joey Votto.
Ooh.
How do you bat flip a walk, sir? And then he's talking shit like, go make a TikTok. Do whatever you do. Just go make a TikTok. And you mean to tell me that Hunter Strickland didn't just I accidentally hit him? Coming from a guy that's known to do that and all of a sudden found his location. You kidding me?
Yeah, that hit was definitely payback. There's no way around it.
Oh yeah,
Wisdom knew. There's a reason Wisdom just stared at him for.
I'm glad Ross got his money.
You know what? Okay, thank you. See, this is rolled exactly the way I was hoping because Ross going off tonight, honestly, this is my little analytical take on Ross going out there and arguing because people are like, oh, first off, baseball being the only sport you can argue with the refs and umps like that is cool, by the way. Because any other sport, that's like a fine and a suspension. And in baseball, you just take a shower early. That's all it is. But two, the team responded after Ross did that.
They did.
They had that late rally. They had a chance late in the game. And I think that's what he wanted. I think he saw they were down. Kyle got beat up a little bit. Wasn't as crisp as I think people were hoping him to be. The bats were a little colder tonight. Maybe it was, that we saw this against Pittsburgh too. They burn all their runs in the first 2 games and then they sputter in the 3rd game. But they actually responded. And so I'm happy Ross got his money's worth. He wanted to fire the boys up. That had meaning behind it. That was strategic. All right, let's get the boys fired up. Andy's got this for the rest of the game. I love too that they were talking how good friends they are. Because that's totally that moment where Ross is in the dugout and he looks over at Andy. He goes, "You got the rest of the game?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "I'm going out there."
As he's standing on his cooler.
Just going ape. He's whispering down to him. He's like, "You got the boys, right? Okay, cool. I'm going out there." And just goes. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I want to get your take on it too, because that was a great moment tonight.
Oh yeah, it was. It definitely like you said, I think it fired up the team because you get Rivas with the walk, and then you get Nico like Wilson flies out. And that I honestly wanted Wilson to hit that out and bat flip it larger than what he did against the White Sox. I wanted him to chuck it in the stands.
I was gonna say, I hope the bat goes as far as the ball does.
Right. Exactly.
Just send it. Yeah, man. I mean, it was exciting. They had a shot. They didn't play the best. Obviously, there was no hits since the 2nd inning before that late rally there. That's not great. That's not going to play. It's not going to win you games. But maybe some of that momentum carries over too, because it is a short turnaround, and we're going to talk about that before it's all said and done here. But it's a very short turnaround for tomorrow's game. I mean, there might legitimately, if you're off tomorrow, if you have a weird schedule and you're off on Thursdays, or you're off for the holiday weekend, like myself,
nice.
You might not be waking up until the game starts at 11:30. That's just a very real thing. So I love the move, though. I'm glad you were on board with it too. Like, it's fun, especially in a loss. At least it was like something to like. It almost fired the fans up a little bit too. I was like, okay,
Exactly.
you get a
Because now
little,
it gives you
little
something for
amped up.
tomorrow, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Right. Yes, there is some like tensions will be a little higher tomorrow. Like, does Justin Steele strike somebody out and do like what he did when he got off the mound against the Dodgers and just let's go and just get fired up? Like, does he come out with 4 chains? That's a shout out for Cub Rachel as well, because we were discussing that on the one Friday episode. But like, does he come out with extra swagger tomorrow? Like, again, does that put a pep in the step that like
Right.
that's the manager's job in baseball, right? Like, there's some strategy to it, obviously, but like ultimately at the end of the day, you have to rally, in today's game, 26 men to come together as a team, right? And there's different ways of doing it, right? We've seen it with every coach, but like sometimes as a manager, especially in the sport of baseball, where you can get away with arguing an ump, just let him have, and he let him have it tonight. Like you said, like he got his money's worth. It wasn't just like come out there, get tossed, bitch for a minute, go sit down. It was like, I'm going to get into it with the next ump that comes over. Like he just kept going. Like I think the second ump like smiled at him at one point because he even thought it was starting to get funny, like knowing that he's just out there getting his money's worth.
Oh yeah.
There was like a small smirk. And
then he went just like, bring me all of you. I want all.
He's like, he said something to him and like Ross at the top of his lungs. He's like, yes. Like, I love that. I enjoyed it. That actually gave me a good pop. I was actually laughing as that was occurring. So I think a well-needed pop after some of the global climate that is happening right now and everything that happened down in Texas, which is awful. But it was a good smiley moment that I think we totally needed. And but dude, I mean, at least tonight, I will say Seiya, like he looks like he's getting a little confidence back.
I figure he's gonna struggle like now because teams kind of figured him out, and now he's just gonna have to adjust. And once he does that, I mean, he'll be putting up numbers.
Oh yeah, and he's a professional hitter, right? Like everybody saw Japan numbers. Like it took him time. Like his first couple seasons in Japan was only a 260. I think he was like as low as 250 at one point in one of those like first couple seasons, but then those like last 4, he was like a almost 300 every year kind of guy. So, I agree. I think he's going to adjust. And like Juice always reminds everybody too on this show, right? Like he's also adjusting to life. He's in a new country. Like,
right. Yeah.
Coming from Japan to Chicago is a very big transition. So like, he's just adapting to being in America at this point, let alone like just adapting to a different style of game and a different, talent level. So I agree with your take there.
Yeah, and he's also adjusting to like I think also umpiring, because from what I've understood over in Japan, like an ump has a crappy game, they send the ump down to the minors and bring somebody up. And I was like, we need that here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I did not know that.
No, neither did I. And then because what was it? His first AB, when the ball was really inside, even Dempster was like, if they're going to give them that, I'm going to make a comeback.
Yeah, right.
Because then I can actually strike people out.
I would maybe be able to strike somebody out. And I can't even throw a ball over 60 miles per hour. So, like, who knows? You know what I mean? Brutal. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely brutal. But yeah, I mean, that was certainly encouraging. And Dubs, I know you like this guy too, because you're all about guys that are fun. I mean, anybody that follows you on Twitter sees your videos, right? We see them. I'm so happy that the golf cart one got to debut, by the way.
Oh man, I was especially like, come on.
With the insider information, that one was highly anticipated. So that one was good. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. But I mean, Christopher Morell still being fun to watch. He struck out twice tonight, but worked really good at bats. Did take a walk early in the game. He had a double too tonight. Just he's being a bit of that spark plug at the top of the order right now, and I kind of like him there. And I'm intrigued to see if Ross keeps him there. But just I want your overall thoughts so far, because we haven't heard from you, right? Like we don't hear from you night in and night out, like on how Morell has been so far.
I think Morell, like you said, is that spark plug. He even said it himself. He goes, I know what I can do to ignite this team. And I think tonight was a perfect example. He gets the last AB. And I mean, he struck out, but I think that's a moment where he goes, you know what? I need to be patient and look for my hit and look for the pitch to hit instead of just trying to chase it.
Yeah.
But I think Morell will be good.
Yeah.
I honestly do. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's been electric.
He's kind of got that like I think he's going to take on like the Chris Bryant role, where he's going to be playing because he's been playing what third or.
So you're saying like play all around the diamond, like he's getting third, short, second, center, like he is going to move and
play. That's what I think.
That's interesting because like to me, and again, this preseason when we're looking at this, nobody pegged Christopher Morell to make his debut this year.
No,
maybe later in the season, right? Like as guys get traded and stuff, but not this early. I don't think the Cubs even expected him this early, to be honest with you. But like it almost feels like with his like that sparky nature that he's got and him moving around, like he's starting to take where I thought Nico was eventually going to end up as like the Ben Zobrist light to move around, right? Like now it almost feels like, and obviously this can change in a few years where maybe Nico just does that too. But like, I always thought that like if all these shortstops and all these second basemen and all these third basemen develop like they're hoping in the minors, maybe eventually if Nico's not out of town and still stays, like he would become the Ben Zobrist and move. And like Christopher Morell's kind of doing that now. You know, and obviously Nico has proven incredible defensively at short and all that, but like now all of a sudden I'm sitting here thinking if Nico and Morell are both a part of this team long term, like are they both going to do that? Is one just going to stay at one spot? So that's like my weird theory that it's creating in my head of like who's starting to take roles like 2 and 3 years from now that are starting to establish those now, right? So it's an interesting take because
I know like a couple minutes ago, Gordon Wittenmeyer, he said that he just published an article that said Horner gets a trial run at shortstop the rest of the way over Andrelton Simmons, which obviously he should.
I would hope so.
Which I 100% Nico already showed what he can do, and I mean he's got a bat. That's all you got to do is be able to hit.
Yeah, I mean go ahead.
He came off the IL tonight, base knock.
Yep,
nice little bloop shot.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, man, because like with Nico, like he's not going to give you terrible amounts of power, but if he can give you 10, 12, maybe high side 15 home runs, that's more than enough because of how he sprays the ball around the yard. Like, like you said tonight, perfect opposite field, just a little dunker, scores a run. That's a huge play in that moment coming literally for the first time in 2 weeks to finally play baseball. So that's encouraging, first and foremost. But like, secondly, too, I mean, he's been hitting well. Like he's hitting, 270. I think it was 271 as he was coming off the IL today. Like he's been a good hitter. He's not taking a lot of walks, which the on base percentage is indicative of that. And he isn't slugging. But if he's gonna hit, like that's all you need him to do. Hit and play great defense at short, and he's done that so far. So I'm thank God I would be over the moon in just anger if Simmons was getting the look over Horner.
Right.
So that's something else. And kind of while we're at that too, right? Like Horner getting healthy, just kind of a quick news bit before we quickly dive back into the game to talk at least one last point. Then I'll obviously toss it over to you if you have anything else as well. But with Nico coming back, David Bodie is getting close. Frazier is getting close. Cubs posted it. We actually tweeted it from the Cubs on Tap account. I'm sorry, it's a terrible picture. It's just from my camera. But it was an update of all the guys getting healthy in the system. All of a sudden, like there's going to be some tough roster decisions for Jed and company coming up here because like this group currently constructed is playing decent. There's a lot of guys getting healthy.
That's exactly when I was making my Christopher Morell point. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I forgot about that graphic. Like after I said, I was like, oh, but Bodie's getting healthy. Frazier's coming back. Madrigal's doing all baseball activities, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. Whatever all baseball.
He's doing all of them.
Yeah, he's doing all of them. He's getting after it for sure. Yeah, I mean it's intriguing because at least in my opinion, and maybe this is the little hot take that people see on a clip tomorrow. Maybe it's not. Who knows? But like, hot take, I would rather have Christopher Morell at second base than Nico Horner, or not Nico Horner, Nick Madrigal. Pardon me. Like, if I had to pick who stays,
yeah,
I know they want to give him a chance. I know he's got a bobblehead scheduled toward the end of the season, but like,
yeah, it does.
I'm really not mad if Morell's getting the time over a guy like Madrigal. I'm really not. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. It really is going to be interesting. Do you have any hypotheses on like maybe something surprising that's going to happen as a result of the roster moves?
I honestly don't.
Nothing that comes to mind.
Not nothing that comes to mind. Nothing that would be like, whoa.
I feel like it's such a.
But I feel like it's a good problem to have that we got guys that can play, and because I'm thinking if you have Morell at second, and then you have like Madrigal coming off the bench or whatever, he provides that like. Isn't that kind of what he did with the Sox or whatever?
Pinch runner, pinch hitter.
Yeah,
kind of. I mean, he would hit in the 9-hole a lot in that lineup as a second baseman, but early in his career, I think he did a little of that. But then he started playing second base pretty consistently. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like you said, it's a good problem to have, but like there's just so many names. Like it's such a mumble jumble. I'm trying to keep it PG. Everybody knows where my brain was going and the word I wanted to use. But like it's such just a mumble jumble of like bodies and like healthy guys that they want to like give legit looks to. So I don't know. There's going to be one that I think surprises people. Like that's just my one hunch about the situation.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen that's either going to piss people off, make people really, really, really happy, or confuse the hell out of everybody. And granted, I know that feels like everybody's like, well, yeah, of course. That's like one of the three things that could happen. But I mean like to the highest level. Like one that makes people angry would be like Morell getting demoted. One that makes people super happy would be like Hayward getting DFA'd, which isn't going to happen. People don't get your hopes up. And like the one that would confuse the hell out of people would then maybe they would trade somebody or like just demote somebody else on the roster that you wouldn't expect. Like that level of like, whoa, like, or like, see, I don't want to say DFA Ortega would like confuse people because I don't think that would confuse
I was going to
people.
say they probably demote Ortega. Maybe. If I don't know, because you have, well, Bodie's playing third
or second,
or second, because then I was to say maybe that's also why they had Wisdom in the outfield too, in case when Bodie comes back. Or does
maybe I think that's just to give Wisdom more playing time, truthfully, because you can put him in left. You can, that's the night you DH Ian Happ if you want him in the lineup. Like, you can play. I think it just is for lineup versatility because like Wisdom can play first too, but.
Yeah,
with Rivas and Schwindel, I don't think you really need Wisdom now at first, unless you just want to give both of those guys a day off. But like, I could like, what if they sent Rivas down?
True,
that would piss people off. At least I think that would more so from like you're taking away from this guy's development than anything else.
Yeah, because I mean, there's people like he's been struggling here and there, but
so I could 230s.
Yeah,
for a young guy that's adapting to the league, like
Yeah,
I can get over that, but
I
don't know. See, now it's got you. See, now I got you thinking though. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a game of chess for Jed Hoyer, like setting up these roster moves of like what needs to happen. Like there's gonna be more. There's got to be probably more than one. Like there's gonna be a couple different things that happen that it's like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna get people kind of moving. And it's gonna be complicated, but. Dubs, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up before I open the floor back to you. For any final thoughts on this game is the pitching because Daniel Norris looked great again. 2 innings, 4 strikeouts.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know what the hell's getting into him, but okay, this is great. I love that. Givens looked really good. Only gave up 1 hit, struck out 2, and Wick looked good in his only inning of work. He gave up a hit and a walk, but ultimately gets out of it. No damage done. He has a 1.69 ERA. That's nice. But what was not so nice was 4 innings of work for Kyle Hendricks, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, only the 1 homer, but only 1 walk. That's encouraging. And only 1 strikeout for Kyle. So he gets beat around a little bit tonight, just enough to, the Cubs bats weren't as hot as they were the last 2 days. obviously leads to the loss. But just what were your thoughts on the pitching? We can talk the lows of Kyle Hendricks and the highs of the bullpen. Is there one that caught you, by surprise more?
See,
the floor is yours.
I always expect when we hand it over to the bullpen, them to just kind of click when they had the one lapse against Arizona, and where it's like, whoa, this isn't us. What are we doing here? But I don't know. For me, I don't know. Kyle Hendricks has been struggling a lot lately. At least I think he's been struggling way more than he did last year. And it's kind of like, are you going to find it? Like, are you trying to do something that you're like, it's getting you off rhythm? Because he's good. He's usually shaky in the first and then he cruises.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good in the first and then he was kind of like, eh. But the one thing I don't like is the late inning where we're good 1 through 5 and then 6 through 9 we're like, oh boy, we have a lead. How are we going to give this up?
Yeah.
But I think our bullpen is like one of the greatest bullpens. You got Daniel Norris who came in today. He just absolutely Jesus. I was like, what was it? K'd 4 guys straight.
Yeah,
and then
2 innings of work.
Yep. And then Rowan Wick's always good. And my favorite so far has been Brandon Hughes.
Yeah.
That
he's
dude
fun to watch.
Yep.
He's fun to watch. Funky little delivery. They love guys that throw weird. Like that's just like the one thing that screams the money ball because of like Chad Bradford and his arm. It's like the same kind of idea with Efros and with like Hughes. Yeah. Like they're the sidewinder. They throw it a little funky.
Do you think the pitching coach down there was like, hey, watch this. Look what I got him doing.
Yeah, right. Just slinging it. And he's like, but it works. Like it's so goofy. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Like the bullpen overall this year has been super solid. A lot of times they're losing games just because the bats can't come around. And that's been probably their biggest struggle so far. Like you said, the bullpen's had their nights where like you're like, you got hit around a little bit, but more often than not, they're usually solid enough where like if you're getting the offense, you should win games. So I completely agree with that, man. And yeah, Hendo, I'm a little sad. I was hoping because like Dubs, like we swore that Cubs listened to Cubs on Tap because like we were talking shit about Wisdom. He started hitting. We talked shit about Schwindel. He started hitting. Like it was like every guy we called out started hitting. So like we put the 2 and 2 together. They listened to Cubs on Tap. I was hoping like to get Kyle a little riled up. You know what I mean? Like poke him a little bit, poke him in like a polite way, but still poke him and like see him turn it around, but just again, not like atrocious tonight. Like, I mean, only 5 hits to give up the 4 runs and only 1 walk. It's not like he was given free base runners galore. Right. He just got hit around, you know what I mean? And that's where it's concerning.
Yeah, I don't know. Lately, I find myself every time I see his name come up as the starter, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I'm like, which Kyle are we getting tonight?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's the good Kyle, especially on the road. Because I know he's not good on the road, but he's good at home. And then lately at home, it's been like, ugh.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I usually could forgive the home road split if the home split is still there, and that hasn't been there either. And I think that's where we get a little concerned about one Kyle Hendricks. But Dubs, before we go ahead and look forward to tomorrow, do you have any final thoughts on this game tonight?
Yeah. I think late inning rallies hurt more than getting your team getting beat by multiple runs.
Yes.
It hurts a lot worse. I was just like, come on, all we needed was a hit.
Yeah.
That's all we needed.
I totally
agree
with
anything else.
I totally agree with you. It's like you're so close, right? Like you could taste it, like ooh, and then you get disappointed. Where it's versus like
you talk yourself into the win. You're like, ooh,
yeah,
he's been hitting good. Just get a nice little hit like you keep doing it. Nope. And you're just like, Jesus.
I agree. Because at least when you lose by like 4, you're just like, all right, they lost. Whatever. Keep it moving. Put this one in the rear view. Like this one, you're thinking about a little extra tonight. Like, just damn it, if they could have gotten a hit here or a hit there, or if the ball's not dead and Wilson leaves the yard, or like, whatever old man yells at cloud take you want to take on it. That's usually where those kind of stem from. And it's tough. It's tough. It's a good final take. I have nothing else on the game. I like the fight. That's my big thing. I like David Ross's fight. I like the team's response to his yelling and screaming. Take that energy tomorrow. That's kind of my final thought on this one. Take the L. It's okay. Go win the series tomorrow. You got an off day before you come home to the south side of the city, and then you're home for 9 games in 7 days. So
that's when the schedule gets. Oh boy, buckle up.
Yeah. That one's going to be a hot topic of conversation. Probably come this weekend. If I had a guess on Cubs on Tap here, we'll be burning questions on that one of like what's going to happen. But speaking of what's going to happen, I can tell everybody that tomorrow there's going to be a baseball game happening, assuming rain doesn't interfere. Supposedly, since he's supposed to get some storms. Let's hope they can play the ball game. That's all we want here. But the Cubs and Reds are due to battle at 11:35 Central Daylight Time. So that is a 12:35 Eastern start for those in the Eastern Time Zone. Great American Ballpark is the setting for the event in Cincinnati, Ohio. 670 the scores, where you can listen to this game as always with Pat and Ron, and it is Marquee Sports Network for this one once again. On the flip side, it'll be WLW 700 on the radio for the Reds and Bally Sports Ohio in the Reds market. And if you are out of market only, this game will be the MLB Network game tomorrow during the early part of the day. It'll be Justin Steele on the bump. Left-hander 1-4, should be 2-4, but we won't go back to that heartbreaking game. With 3.82 ERA and 38 Ks on the season so far, coming off 2 really good games for him. So super excited to see the lefty in front of the program out there. And it'll be the kind of electrifying. I don't know if he's technically considered a rookie. I think he is, but it'll be Hunter Green.
Yeah, he is. He's a rookie.
Okay. It'll be Hunter Green on the mound. Yeah.
I was going to say, I only know that because when I was putting down a bet for NL Rookie of the Year, he was on it.
There you go. Hey, sometimes that's how I remember things too. And it's a nice little plug and a shout out to our buddy Joey at Joey Knows Nothing over at On Tap Bets. Because On Tap does everything, man. That's just what we do here. But yeah, 100 Green tomorrow, 1-6 record only for him. Kind of tough. 5.49 ERA, 50 Ks though for him. He's been good despite like the numbers. Like he's showing the like upside and the promise that like he'll be legit for the Reds, and they'll have him for a couple years, and then he'll leave in free agency because they don't pay anybody. So,
right.
I'll take my little dig where I can at the Cincinnati Reds. But Dubs, I will turn it over to you, sir. Thoughts in tomorrow's game for the early getaway day game here on Thursday.
I think we're going to steal a win. STEELE, a win.
Ooh.
I mean, Justin Steele's been phenomenal his last 2 games. He got 10, then he gets 9 his last outing. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I think he gets 11 Ks tomorrow.
Okay. Bold, but I appreciate it.
Yep, against this Reds lineup. I mean, he's faced 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 of their guys, and they've all had at least more than one of them. I'm looking at this, and the highest average against them is 500, but
it's only in 4 at bats.
But yeah, it's 4 at bats and 2 at bats. Other than that, it's like 200 or less. But I think Justin Steele gets it done. I mean, I think it's the 3rd time around the order is where he kind of gets shaky because they're like, all right, we know it's coming. Yeah. And it's also nice that Rossi and them are like, you know what, we'll protect you. We're not going to let you face that, or we'll cut off your pitch count. But I don't know. I'm just really hoping that Hunter Green is not Hunter Green.
Yeah. Not on it
sense.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Not throwing 100. I mean, he's going to throw 100, but
yeah. You hope the Cubs can get to him a little bit. As long as the Cubs can get to him, you feel all right.
Yeah, you pitch it hard, we'll hit it hard.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great way to think about it. I totally agree with you, man. And honestly, with Steele too, the Reds are a very lefty heavy team. We saw that on Monday against Drew Smiley when the Cubs were able to take away a win. So maybe that bodes well for the Cubs in this one, is just a lefty in the rotation. I would have loved to seen Wade against his former team.
Oh yeah,
so desperately, because he would have shoved. He would have gone 8 scoreless. like 9Ks. Like he would be there for some blood. Like you just gave me away. Okay, this is personal.
Oh yeah,
Like I would have loved to see that.
Game would take an hour.
Yeah, right. Just doof, out, guys out in like 2 pitches. Like, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if only. I one could dream. But you know what? Steele's a good one too, because again, Smiley had success against this lineup with multiple lefties in it. I think Justin can do the exact same. So I'm right there with you, man. I agree. I think it comes down to the pitching. Bats need to get after Hunter Green early. And like you said, man, just get a win. Again, it's early. You get home, they'll probably be home to Chicago by like dinner time, probably before that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a short trip from Cincy. So, like, get home, chill. You have an off day on Friday, a little thirsty Thursday action if you got to get out, let off some steam. You know what I mean? Like, just get ready because you got 2 on the south side.
You get to sleep in your own bed, though.
Yeah, you're not traveling far. And then you're at least home, but you got 9 really tough games with the 2 teams ahead of you in the Central at your ballpark over the next 7 days. So it's going to be busy, like you said. So I love it. I'm right there with you, man. But I will tell you what, before we get out of here, Dubs, I do want to remind everybody Cubs on Tap is the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sports Network. Check us out, www.ontapsportsnet.com, at On Tap Sportsnet on social media. You can follow the pod specific accounts at Cubbies on Tap. That's Twitter and Instagram. I am at Loose on Tap. Dubs, be sure to follow our friend. He is at Mike Dubs Radio on Twitter. And you can follow all the other great. There you go. Right in the bar if you're watching along live, or feedback again on YouTube. But you can also follow at Juice on Tap, at Joey Knows Nothing, at Teddy Freddy 270, and all the other great people that contribute to Cubs on Tap for On Tap Sportsnet. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, we got it all. And yes, Cubs fans, we all have friends that like the Southsiders. Go ahead and throw them our way as well. Our guys over at Sox on Tap do a great job covering those aforementioned Southsiders. www.ontapsportsnet.com, at OnTap Sportsnet on social media, OnTap Bets, OnTap Golf, OnTap Eats, you name it, we got it. OnTap Sportsnet, go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Dubs, so it's an absolute pleasure, my friend. Cubs lost. That part sucks.
Yep.
Talking to you and hanging out with you here at Cubs on Tap, always a pleasure, dude. We'll do this again very soon. And what do you say, man? We get out of here the only way we know how to. Cubs on Tap. Let's go, Cubbies.
Let's go.